In this session, we'll understand how to return a promise and how to consume a returned promise. You will often see in the real world scenario that the promises may or may not be created by us, but they are returned from a function, and we can consume those promises in our code.
Hey there. If you're finding this video helpful, you'll love our full online course on JavaScript with node.js. It goes even more in depth and covers everything you need to know. Check out the link in the description to enroll and take your skills to the next level.
So we'll see first chunk of code will be how to return a promise, and then we'll see how to consume a promise. To return a promise, we'll use the same example that we saw in the previous session. We can create a function. Let's call it as fetch data. Let's say this service is fetching data from some API, and we know it's going to take time. So what it is going to do is it's returning a promise that I'm going to fetch the data and I'm going to deliver it to you. This is the promise. So we'll say return new promise. And as we know, it has two parameters, resolve and reject. Over here, we can write some code like this to simulate the asynchronous operation. I'm going to use set timeout here. Let's create a constant success, which is just going to do math.random. And if this number is greater than, say, 0.3, we'll say the promise is returned, it's successful. Just for our understanding purpose, to make it either fail or pass. Like if it is resolved or rejected, we are creating this condition over here. So if success, we'll say promise is resolved, and we'll say data received from URL. Else we can reject the promise, and we'll say something like data not received from URL. Okay, so what we have done here is we have simply created a set timeout to simulate the async operation. Let's say it takes approximately 3 seconds, and it's going to do its process, get the data. If we get the data successfully, it's going to resolve the promise with this message, data received from whatever URL we are passing. If there is any error, it's going to say data not received from the URL. Or even better, what we can do is we can create an error here. So we'll say new error, and we can return the error in case of rejection. So in JavaScript, whenever we want to create a new error, we'll just use new keyword and use the error, and whatever description that we want to pass for that error, we can pass it. Okay, so this function over here, fetch data function, is returning a promise for fetching the data from a particular URL. Now, how we can consume it? To consume the promise is the same way how we consume any function. We'll do in the same way. First, let's create a URL. So you want to fetch data from deeasylearn.com/courses. So what I will do is I'll use the name of the function, then pass on the URL. Now I know that what this is going to return is instance of promise. So I can simply use this one and use my methods like then, catch, finally, etc. So the returning value from this is going to be a promise, and I can simply use .then method or .catch method to do the process that I want to do. So then, as we saw in the previous session, is something we do after promise is resolved. So we'll say then, we'll use that parameter. This value is nothing but whatever is being passed in the resolve statement there. So we'll simply say console.log We can also club catch over here. we know there is error, so we'll say console.error. We can do log error, anything. I'm just saying console.error, and simply passing the error that we are creating over here in reject. And we can also add finally, and pass console.info or log, whatever you want to do. I'm just passing info, saying that promise is complete. Okay, it may result into error or it may have resolved successfully, but it is complete. That's what finally does. As simple as that. This is how we can return a promise. This is how we can consume a promise. As simple and as similar as we create a function and consume a function. Okay, let's quickly run this program. Fetching data, data received, and promises complete. Okay, so you will see this kind of functions in the actual projects a lot, where promise is being returned from a function, and in our code what we'll do is we'll consume that promise. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thanks for watching. If you want to dive deeper into JavaScript with Node.js, don't forget to explore our complete online course. Click the link in the description to get started today. Plus, subscribing to our channel ensures you won't miss out on more valuable content in the future. See you in the class.